Hello, hello, hello.
Right. Welcome, everybody, to another weekly double feature where we talk whatever movies we like. You
And
know, we'll,
this
we'll pick a
episode
couple of
is really
movies.
going to be a whatever movies we like, right?
Yeah.
Yes, but,
Free for all.
but that's okay. That is okay. So we're kind of moving beyond the double feature format and tonight, and we are just going to talk about our favorite summer movies. What do we like to watch during the summer?
What we like
Um,
during the summer, or uh, movies that are set during summer.
Blockbusters, like I was
Yeah.
telling Nick earlier, around June I like to start watching The Great Outdoors and Ernest Goes to Camp and Meatballs, and July 4th is a big one. I like to throw Independence Day in there. Uh,
Yes.
uh, Godzilla 97,
98.
98,
Yes,
98.
I
Yeah.
Godzilla
know.
98.
Wow.
Which is.
I don't
Okay,
know. Goofy
you know what's
popcorn
kind of
movies.
funny? I know people love dunking on that movie, but I always tell them watch the cartoon adaptation because it's actually closer to the Godzilla movies than that Godzilla movie was.
Aha, okay.
Yeah,
I
and
remember
it's
that
actually
animated show. I
better
just never.
than it's considered better than the actual movie.
Ah, nice.
And I actually have the entire animated series on DVD. It's like I need to revisit that
Dang.
sometime. Yeah. Well, it was like I got it for cheap, like either $8 or $12.
Nice.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's not bad.
yeah. It's that
So,
same animation studio that did Men in Black and Extreme Ghostbusters.
Oh, yeah.
okay.
Yeah, because it's the same style.
Yeah, and also Extreme Ghostbusters is you know, a pretty good. Um, it's better than most people remember it to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like I avoided that show for a while, but then I actually watched an episode. It's like, wow, this isn't too bad.
It was kind of. Uh, I didn't ever read the comics until I met Christopher. So, like, that was the only expansion of, like, the Ghostbusters universe that I knew, and I watched it. I always thought it was something that you, like, if you catch it on TV, before you could just pick whatever you wanted to watch
Yeah,
whenever.
Really? Like, you didn't see the movies before?
I think I had seen the first one.
well, yeah, that's the movie everybody's. It's like everybody knows the first one, and of course, Chris and I, we definitely. I don't know about you, Cody, but I know Chris and I definitely watched Real Ghostbusters.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
sure.
I totally watched the real Ghostbusters as a kid. There were two things I was obsessed with from like the age of 3 to probably 6, probably 7. And that was Ghostbusters and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, same.
You can't say you're obsessed until you used your toy proton pack and trap and your pajamas as your Halloween Ghostbuster costume.
No,
Hey,
but I
listen.
was a Ninja Turtle 3 years in a row.
Nice.
Why
My
not four and go for all four turtles?
Sadly, I always ended up having to be Raphael because that was the one they had leftovers of, I guess.
oh,
Oh, uh, see,
And I
we're
always
talking
wanted to be
summer.
Michelangelo.
Of course. He's a party dude.
And
Yeah,
he
but
had,
I'm probably more a Donatello than a Michelangelo.
and also Mikey had the coolest weapon.
The nunchucks, he did, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just for funsies, I sometimes just turn on the original movie and just watch the nunchuck duel between Mikey and that 1-foot ninja.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, actually, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That is definitely one of my favorite rewatches during the summer.
Oh, for
Because
sure.
there's some moments when I for I quite forgot how good and gritty it was.
Yeah, like, go ahead. Sorry.
Especially for those of us who grew up with the '87 cartoon, and of course the whole it's like movie's tagline was, "Hey, dude, this is no cartoon."
Yeah.
I missed your guys' discussion when we talked about it, but yeah, it is surprising like how dark the movie was, especially that it's a PG movie. But
Well,
you know, it's
this
very close to the Eastman and Laird comics.
yeah, I was like, well, this is also back when the PG rating had some bite.
Yeah, when the G rating existed still.
Yeah, and actually, I know a lot of people really, it's like, uh, Doug Walker and company aren't very looked upon favorably nowadays. But I do like this assessment, how he called the PG rating practically G.
Yeah.
But but I will say that Mutant Mayhem, that actually brought some of that grit from the original movies back.
Oh, for sure. For sure, I would agree. And I think the original one is highly underrated. I think, Chris, what you were saying, I think it is one of the better comic book movies, especially in that era of comic book movies.
Yeah.
And I think people forget well, maybe people just forget it's a comic book too, you know, because.
Well, actually, it's a funny thing because IDW is still putting out Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comics, and it has and Eastman and Laird are involved with it. Like for a while, it was just Peter Laird, but he oversaw the 2003 Ninja Turtles series, and that actually followed the comics. And personally, I like that show better than I like the '87 show for its silliness, but I like the 2003 show for its action and the characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a shocker going from the cartoon, and then my parents being like, "Hey, let's go watch the Ninja Turtles movie." And believe it or not, I had not seen just a whole lot of advertisement for that, or as far as like commercials went.
Oh, really?
And
Oh man, that was marketed so heavily.
Yeah.
Maybe I did, and maybe I'm not remembering it. I don't know. It just feels like it didn't have a. I don't know. I'm probably just not remembering it as much.
Weren't they interviewed by Oprah and Barbara Walters?
I think so. Yeah, and also
I remember Oprah.
the animatronics in that movie, the turtle costumes they got, like it felt real. It felt like you were talking to, actual giant walking, talking turtles.
Well, it's Jim Henson's puppet company,
Yeah, right.
you know.
Yeah, I mean they definitely they definitely brought out the best, and it's just another testament to Jim Henson, the Henson Company's imagination, and how it's kind of a tragedy that he left us so soon.
Yeah. Maybe we would have gotten a spin-off movie with Usagi Yojimbo, Puppet Rabbit Samurais.
Oh yeah.
Actually just had a sudden thought. What if there? Well, I know Usagi Yojimbo is like a different franchise, but I know they occasionally crossed over with TMNT. But what if there
Hmm.
was Usagi Yojimbo movie that was done in stop motion?
Oh, that'd be badass too.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Uh,
Well, what about one of my favorites was always Ernest Goes to Camp because I
I do
grew up
like
like
that one. That was kind of like the breakout Ernest
That was the
movie.
first one, right? As
Yeah,
right.
Ernest.
because up until that point, Ernest P. Worrell was just a advertising mascot.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
you can watch some of the original commercials that Jim Varney did. Like
I used to have a compilation VHS of them.
yeah, I remember. Well, this is. I mean, y'all are still in East Texas, but I was kind of closer to Shreveport, living in Marshall, and I remember the ads. He did ads for Chevyland, uh, Chevyland car dealerships and stuff.
Nice.
But yeah, that was the. Um, oh, do you know they're actually still doing Ernest P. Worrell commercials right now? But
Really?
No,
yeah, but it's
no
done in
way.
CG. They're terrible.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's
Ah,
it's nothing without Jim Varney.
I haven't seen Camp in a very long time, but my favorite Ernest movies as a kid was Scared Stupid and Ernest Goes to Jail.
Ernest Goes to Jail was a good one, especially
yeah,
with Jim Varney doing that um, acting for two. Like
Yeah.
the guy, I mean, it was a clue of what his acting chops were like. And
yeah. He had
honestly,
a wide range. You know, he was trained when he trained as a classical actor.
oh yeah, he has a theater degree,
Yeah.
and he did get some good roles under his belt, like playing Jed Clampett in the Beverly Hillbillies movie. And honestly, he was the best part of that movie.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we watched that not too long ago, uh, as well. I had thought about maybe doing a segment on '90s movies that they remade from classic TV shows because you had the Brady Bunch,
Oh
two
yeah,
Brady
well,
Bunch movies. You had uh, let's see, they've done Starsky and Hutch, which was not really '90s, but made off of
yeah,
a show. You had uh,
The Fugitive.
Beverly
Yeah,
Hillbillies.
Mel, the
Yeah,
fugitive. And technically Mission Impossible.
Yeah,
yeah. Mission
Uh
Impossible.
but yeah, Chris, you're right. He studied Shakespearean theater in Virginia, Jim
Oh
Varney,
wow.
and apparently
Yeah.
performed at Opryland in its first year of operation. If you don't know what that is, it was a theme park in Nashville for a very long time.
oh, I know about Opryland. I've never been there because never been to Nashville, but I know about it. And
Yeah.
of course, Nashville is really known for its recording studios and music scene, not just country, but if you're a
Yeah.
if you're a musician and you're one to get hired on, you go to Nashville. Apparently, one of my old drummer colleagues from UTA recently moved there, and now he's actually working.
Nice.
Yeah. So Mackenzie, if you're watching this, more power to you. So we have been kind of all over. Not just, I mean, we haven't just been talking movies, but we've been talking about our favorite Saturday morning cartoons and stuff. But that's also because one of the things I loved about summer was just being able to catch all of uh, the weekday cartoons that I would have missed because I had to catch the bus.
I remember waking up early enough. My morning shows were like, I remember Gargoyles came on, Magic School Bus, and then there was Beekman's World, and there was one more that we were able to catch like part of before we had to start doing before we did school.
Yeah.
But
So-
because we had to wake up early.
See, my show one of my shows back then, early weekday mornings was Robotech.
Oh, okay,
It-
I remember.
it- Yeah, it actually ran on Sci-Fi, the Sci-Fi channel, back when it spelled its name correctly. I will.
Right.
I'm sorry. I will never let that go. It's
Yeah.
Siffy. That's what that spells. Siffy.
Yeah, that's. I remember that. That was a big controversy. That's back when I was still watching. Actually watching the channel. You know, back when they had a good Friday night lineup.
Well, actually, there were still some good shows like Face Off. Face Off was
Yeah, that was a great show.
like, and I looked up some of those contestants, and even the ones who didn't win are active in the special effects industry now. It's like that that show was essentially a tryout for them.
Yeah, we watched a lot of that back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, Face Off was
actually-
good. Jim
I actually
Henson
met
had
a contestant once.
Yeah, they only did it one season though, but yeah, they did a competition show too. It was great.
Preacher Shop, wasn't it?
Yeah. Brian Henson was one of the judges.
Yeah, I remember that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. I don't know what's on there now, mainly because I don't have cable anymore, because I either have my own streaming accounts, or I'm piggybacking off of another friend's streaming account, or I just
Well, I know. Oh, sorry. I was going to say, I know a lot of people like this show called Resident Alien, where Alan Tudyk is an alien, but he's pretending to be like the doctor in this small little town.
I think he's carrying that whole channel on his back though. That one show.
Well, yeah. Alan Tudyk is a gem. Like if you even if you never watch Firefly, he's done a lot of voice acting work.
Yep. He's pretty much become the John Ratzenberg of Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and why Disney hasn't cast him in any of their live action projects, I don't know.
Well, he did voice a character in the Enchanted sequel that went straight to Disney Plus.
Oh, okay. I for that to work, I'd have to watch the original Enchanted.
Oh, well, the original Enchanted's actually clever. It's actually really well done.
But that leads into another movie that I watched, frequently watched either during the summer or any time. I, Robot.
Oh, yeah, that's Alan Tudyk, too.
Yeah, Alan Tudyk as the robot, which, I know there are a lot of people who
He also
dislike the
carried that
movie.
whole movie on his back too.
Almost. Actually, no.
Almost.
I actually like the movie, but you gotta
It's not bad.
you gotta think about it in its proper perspective, because yes, there are characters from Asimov's original iRobot stories, because iRobot's actually a compilation, but the actual plot is closer to an Outer Limits episode, ironically called iRobot. But it's really it was really about this other set of stories featuring this robot character named Adam Link. The first story is he's a robot who's created with emotions, and um, his inventor dies in an accident, but he is blamed for it and ends up standing trial. And I don't know how I forget exactly um, how the story ended. I don't remember whether or not he was convicted or not, but he's taken out. He sees this kid who's playing in the street, and this bus is like barreling towards him. So Adam just pushes the kid out of the way, and he gets run over. And everybody
Dang.
says, "Well, that's one robot who will never hurt anyone again."
Hmm.
Like, not even carry the fact that he saved a kid's life. But I think in the original stories, he lives, realizes, yes, he's not a killer, and then he goes off on all these other adventures. I have to look them up sometime. But the iRobot movie is kind of a very, very loose adaptation about that on that, with a lot of Asimov lore thrown in.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in like God, I guess close to 20 years. But I remember the reactions being mixed, and it was from the same guy that directed The Crow in Dark City.
Yeah, and also it was, um, I I liked it. I didn't like it as much as Dark City because that I feel was very much his movie, and you know this other one he had to, you know, be a little bit more collaborative,
Mm-hmm.
especially with creating a project that's meant for Big Willie weekend.
Even though it didn't come out on July 4th, because he made a comment during the summer movie season, because Spider-Man 2 came out on July 4th weekend. And he's like, I'll let Spider-Man have my weekend this time, but
Oh,
it's my weekend.
oh God, yeah, in Spider-Man 2, I remember, of course, going 2 hours to see Spider-Man 1, but to see it opening night. But I think I saw Spider-Man 2 that Saturday, and it's like the Saturday after it opened, and that whole morning, ABC Family was like doing reruns of Spider-Man because they
Yeah,
love that movie.
I
And
remember that. ABC Family was showing like the 90s era Spider-Man cartoon and the X-Men cartoon like on a loop that weekend for some reason.
that because Spider-Man 2 came out, and
Yeah,
it turned out to be better than the first movie.
absolutely.
Like that whole subway fight between him and Doc Ock. It's
It, in my mind, and I know there are lots of people who will tell me I'm wrong, but I think Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2 might be the greatest superhero movie ever made.
Oh
I
yeah,
might
it's right
I
up there
might be
with
with you there.
Ninja
I
Turtles.
might, if it wasn't for Captain America: The First Avenger.
Well,
Like,
that's a solid movie too, but I don't know. There's just so much emotional stakes in Spider-Man 2 for me. It just hits me.
yeah, it's
Well, for the era that it came out in, that 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 rail car fight is still one of the best fight scenes in comic book history. Like that was
actually, now
so
I
well
think about it.
choreographed, and up the side of the like up every fight with Doc Ock was so well done and filmed. It's just amazing. Like that's up there with one of the best comic book fights to me in cinematic history.
And I only the Spider-Verse movies are as close to what that movie did, especially the scene with Aunt May and her monologue where she basically knows he's Spider-Man, but she doesn't say it.
Right.
Also, it was that era during J. Michael Straczynski's run where Aunt May does find out she's um, that Peter's Spider-Man,
Yeah.
but okay. So I'm looking at. I'm actually looking at the winners and nominees for Best Fight for the MTV Movie Awards, and
Now Jack Black hosted the MTV
Yeah.
Movie Awards for the first movie. I remember.
yeah,
Yeah,
Because
didn't he
the skate-
co-host that with Sarah Michelle Gellar?
yeah, and one year the winner was Yoda versus Christopher Lee.
I mean, that's what everybody was talking about when they saw Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, you want to talk about carrying that movie on its back? Yoda was carrying that movie with the Force.
I think that I think Ewan McGregor's actually doing a good job in Attack of the Clones. I think the Obi-Wan Kenobi half of the movie is actually interesting. It's
Okay.
just the love.
That's solid.
It's just the love story is so cringy and terrible. Like, you don't even know why she's falling in love with this guy. It's like, he's a fascist. Please blink twice if you're in danger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the original Tobey Maguire versus Willem Dafoe for Spider-Man 1 was nominated, but I didn't see Spider-Man 2. I'm kind of disappointed.
Yeah, because those fights are incredible.
Yeah. I'm just. I mean, at least Kill Bill won a best fight. But yeah. And previous year, Jackie Chan
Kill
and
Bill.
Chris Tucker versus Hong Kong Gang in Rush Hour 2.
Lindsay said she liked the Kill Bill movies. Like,
That's not what Lindsay said.
Well, she
Lindsay
said-
they summer
she said all these summer movies. My bad.
You can't
Oh,
say
yeah.
I like movies. I gotta keep my eyes closed for most of
I
it.
do.
Oh, you like
I mean, Kill Bill is definitely one of my favorite Tarantino movies, and I kind of have. And this is coming from somebody who has a love-hate relationship with Tarantino.
Yeah.
Tarantino is a good filmmaker, but he has started believing all of his press and started believing his own hype, and his fan base kind of enables him.
Well, you could
He's,
say the
he-
same
he's-
thing.
He's the leader of the Real Foot Clan. Matter of fact, yeah, expect a meme later, guys. Expect a meme later for the page.
I mean, you could say the same about Snyder fans and Nolan fans.
Okay, point. And honestly, Christopher Nolan, it kind of needed to be cut down a peg too. Especially when he started saying you should risk your health to go see Tenet. I mean,
Yeah.
No, you shouldn't.
Like I know what they need to do is lower them prices, so we can go see before we go see.
Well, if he wanted everyone to see the movie in the theater so bad, which I understand that point. But dude, it's a global pandemic. People are not like, if you want the mass public to see your movie, which most people do go see Christopher Nolan movies because he is a director people know the name. Then wait to release your movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Actually, though it did, people did, have Barbenheimer be a thing, like seeing Barbie and Oppenheimer for as a double feature.
I had to wait a week to see Oppenheimer because almost every screening was sold out. I did not think it was going to be that insane.
Wow.
It was like practically sold out. We thought about seeing it in IMAX. There was a 6 o'clock in the morning showing, sold out
Whoa.
Oh my
Whoa.
God.
on a Sunday
Way
morning.
to start your day.
Wow.
Your Sunday.
Wow.
Though, although a lot of people weren't expecting the Barbie movie to be as good as it was.
That's true, but my God, it was so good.
Yeah.
I've seen it twice.
Which,
Uh,
hey guys,
oh,
if you're
oh.
interested, it will be streaming around the 3rd of September.
Yes, it'll be available to rent digitally online.
And tomorrow we're getting the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie.
That's crazy. It's not even been out a month.
I know, but I'm excited because we haven't seen it yet, and we will actually be able to enjoy
Yeah,
it on Friday. So I'm
I
excited.
think you guys will enjoy it, and
You guys will enjoy it because
I think
That's our big Friday night movie. I'm excited.
Seth Rogen and it's the guy who directed Mitchell's versus the Machines. They actually have the turtles act like teenagers.
and they're
Wow.
actually voiced by teenagers.
Yeah.
That's
And-
one of the things when I saw the trailer. Not only the animation, because it reminded me of Spider-Verse, but the way that they were acting. I was like, oh my God, they're actual teenagers. Like, this is going to be great.
Also, guess who does the score?
Trent Reznor, isn't it?
Yeah, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross are doing the score for a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie.
You know, it's I keep seeing that. I keep thinking of that one meme of, and kids will come up to me and sing, "Did you know film composer Trent Reznor used to be in a band?"
Well,
And
you know,
apart,
you think
sorry,
people said that about oh my gosh, brain fart coming from Oingo Boingo.
oh,
I mean, I
Danny
think I
Elfman.
did when I found that out. I was like, Danny Elfman was in a rock band?
See, actually,
Because-
I remember Oingo Boingo did a song for the Ghostbusters 2 soundtrack.
Yes, and Weird Science. And,
Yep.
And now you got Mark Mothersbaugh from Devo doing
Right.
doing.
Yeah, he's a composer too. Was
I'd have to
Rugrats like
say-
his first thing? Because I know he's done a lot of scores now.
My favorite of his was what he did on the Royal Tenenbaums.
Yeah.
I
Well,
like Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, he
That
does
was-
some really funky beats with that one.
Oh yeah.
And speaking of Thor Ragnarok, let's just say it. Immigrant Song is Thor's theme now.
Right. As it
Yeah.
should be.
Basically, when I saw that movie, I was like, this is that dude's van from the 70s come to life. You know those people that have like those decked out vans with like the fantasy stuff on the van?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah, that's basically what Thor Ragnarok is as a movie.
That's a good analogy there.
I agree that is a very accurate way to. But then again, that is the aesthetic I believe that Taika Waititi was going for.
Well, you know what was a big influence on him for this movie, for that one in particular,
What?
was Big Trouble in Little China.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah, he said he wanted that kind of vibe.
So I was thinking, well, a lot of the design in that movie just kind of calls back to a lot of the Jack Kirby comics.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was seeing.
There's still a part of me that wishes they had went a little closer to the comics, and Thanos really just wanted to kill half the world to impress Kate Blanchett.
Oh, Hela. Well, actually,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was Hela, but it was literally death. I think those are two, different
They're
characters.
two different characters. Well, they could have made her death in that movie, you know.
Yeah, though I'm kind of waiting for um, it's like a future Marvel movie to kind of shut the Thanos stands up.
Oh, well, I mean, they made a joke about it in the What If series.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. I think you know where they're headed, right?
Well, yeah, I know where they're heading, but I don't know what they're going to do now since the big bad they cast, they're going to have to
Okay.
recast him.
Look, right. Well, Loki and the new Deadpool movie are merging all of the past Marvel characters. Jennifer Garner's coming back as Elektra. They just got Nick Cage back as Ghost Rider. Rumors are that Ben Affleck is coming back as Daredevil.
So there's going to be a Charlie Cox and a Ben Affleck Daredevil in the same universe? Or is this in the Daredevil movie?
It's the multiverse, and it's going to be they're building up to Secret Wars.
Okay.
So if you're familiar with Secret Wars, that's pitting everyone against everyone on basically, kind of. I don't know. You really need to read it. It's been a while. I don't want to muck anything up.
Hopefully they do a better job with that than they did with Secret Invasion.
I haven't seen that yet.
It's pretty bland, in my opinion.
I kind of got thrown off a little bit when I heard that they used AI to create the
credits. Yeah,
the credit, because Disney's already hiring teams of AI analysts or whatever you call them.
Yep.
So there's
Bob Iger is right below what's its face that's running Warner Brothers, in my opinion.
Zaslav.
Yeah, that guy.
Guy.
Yeah, that guy needs to be fired immediately.
And of course, the Snyder stands are writing Zaslav's jock because he canceled the Batgirl movie.
Yeah. Yeah, but also I heard he's going to start testing CNN Plus or whatever it's called, news alerts while you're watching a movie on Max.
Oh no.
I'm like, dude, that's why we don't have cable. I don't need news popping up when I'm watching The Batman.
No one wants to hear about Trump's.
This is why physical media is important, everyone.
At least one reason. Oh man, we kind of been going on for almost 40 minutes now, just kind of bouncing off the walls, talking about one movie, and then just talking about other stuff, and then going to another movie. These are like brief mentions of movies, but I kind of want to go back.
This is what happens in my brain. I just want you guys to.
I'm pretty sure this is what happens in a lot of brains. I think this is what some of it's what happens in some of my kids' brains, honestly.
Yeah.
This is what happens in going from one thing. Oh, hey, squirrel. Oh, wait a minute. Did you ever see this movie? So and so, yeah.
Okay, well, here's one I like to watch for summertime, particularly around July 4th, and that's Jaws.
Jaws is one of those. It's one of those game changers, and it's such. Our generations after that are so used to it that they don't quite realize how much of a game changer it was.
Yeah.
Right.
Our middle kid
Yeah.
just asked to watch Jaws today because he's seen the Meg and he was excited for Meg too.
Yeah, yeah. We watched both Meg movies, and those are really fun. Like I had put those off because I was like, I don't know, like
They're not Jaws. That's what.
it. Yeah. It's not Jaws. It looks
Well-
cheesy. It looks fun, but I just slept on them, and I was like,
There are a handful of movies that have been made that we have tried, that Hollywood has tried to replicate its success. And
Yeah.
sometimes they're good knockoffs and sometimes they're good cheesy versions. But Jaws, The Exorcist are two movies I'm like, you kind of already did this. I don't think you can make a better movie version of this story.
right.
Like, you did it. That's the one.
Hey, I am actually kind of ready, which we'll get to see this October, is for David Gordon Green's Exorcist, because from what I understand, it's a proper sequel.
Yeah, they have Ellen Burstyn coming back as her character.
Wait.
So I guess he's sort of doing what he did with the Halloween franchise.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, Ellen Burstyn, but no Linda Blair.
Exactly. I don't know.
Like, is
I
Linda
trust
Blair
him with
even
it.
still
Or she's at least
acting?
not in the marketing.
Okay, point.
I don't think Linda Blair is acting.
Yeah.
No, she does the convention circuit. I know that.
Another one I like to watch, and we covered, Chris, when we did summer movies, like movies that take place during summer, is Dazed and Confused.
Oh, for sure.
I still need to watch that one.
It's good.
Well, I love the movie. It's like a great hangout movie, but I don't know how you'll feel about it, Nick, because it is, teenagers getting into shenanigans and
Well-
doing things teenagers aren't supposed to be doing.
Well, okay, I would be a hypocrite if I didn't say I didn't get up to some shit when I was in high school, okay? But watching it now, watching people like that now as a grown-up, I do not miss being 15 at all. Well,
I don't
okay,
think anybody does.
okay, there is one thing that I actually miss about being 15, and that's the metabolism.
Oh, I was gonna say not paying bills.
No, it was the metabolism. I could eat an entire large Meat Lovers pizza by myself, and I was this about a couple of inches shorter than I am. I'm 6 feet and 150 pounds. Like I was that skinny kid who ate and ate and ate. But yeah, that is probably the only thing I miss about being a teenager. But also because I like being an adult so much more, because we do have bills to pay, but once we're done with that, we can do whatever the hell we want. Like just last week was my spouse's and mine anniversary. We went and did tea service at the Kimball. And then the next day, just for the heck of it, we went to BJ's and split a pizza. I mean that was fun. But
You want to know a good way to eat cheap at BJ's?
how?
The clam chowder. It's in this ginormous bread bowl. It'll fill you up. You probably won't even be able to finish it, and it's pretty reasonable price.
See, actually, we went on a Monday, and it was half-price pizzas,
Nice.
So we did split a large half and half, and yeah, we weren't able to finish that thing. But it was actually, it wasn't that we weren't able to finish it. We made ourselves stop so we could actually be able to do dessert.
Yep.
That's how you know when you're a real grown up, when you're like, I gotta save some of this for later because I'm definitely gonna have cake or
Yeah.
ice cream.
Yes, yeah.
I still struggle with that sometimes.
Well, I know one that deserves an honorable mention for myself because it's a family favorite. Is Summer Rental. There's two
Yeah.
two John Candies. Yeah, is Big Outdoors and Summer Rentals are just
And he swings back around for Thanksgiving.
yeah.
Yeah.
He
Planes,
comes
trains, and
back,
automobiles.
yeah, Uncle Buck and Planes Trains. So because Uncle Buck is set around.
That's right. It is set at Thanksgiving weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, that's one of we do for November as part of like movies centered around Thanksgiving. We do Uncle Buck, Planes, Trains, and Son-in-Law with Pauly Shore. It's just a goofy movie.
Well,
And what's the other one?
that's kind of par for
Do
the
we do
course
another
for
one?
any
Oh,
Pauly
and-
Shore
and-
movie.
Also Dutch with
Ed O'Neill and Ethan. Was it Ethan Hunt? No, not. That's
No, it's
that's
Ethan
the,
Hunt. Is it the Mission Impossible origin story?
it's Ethan something. I know he was
Is it Ethan Embry?
Ethan Hawke.
Ethan
I
Embry.
think.
Mm-mm.
The funny
It's not
thing is,
Ethan Hawke.
The funny thing is, they both later on starred together in one of the Dragnet reboots where
It-
Ed
it's
O'Neill
Ethan
played Joe
Embry.
Fry. Okay.
Because he was in Can't Hardly Wait, Vegas Vacation, Empire Records, Sweet Home Alabama, and Dutch. Oh, and That Thing You Do.
Yeah, he's in a lot of things in the 90s.
Yeah. That Thing You Do is a great movie.
It is.
The Tom Hanks.
Speaking of
directorial
ADHD.
Tom Hanks' directorial debut.
Well, you know what 3 of your Thanksgiving movies have in common, Chris?
What's that?
They were written by John Hughes.
Oh,
Of
yeah.
course.
That's what it is. The
That's,
feel.
yeah. It's that John Hughes.
The warm and fuzzy. I would like to vote. Well, to not to vote or nominate or anything, but my summer viewing, most summers, if I was at my dad's house, was Quantum Leap and Star Trek: Next Generation.
Hey.
And
Nice.
whenever it came on those deluxe movie channel, because my dad worked nights, so I got to stay up, and
That's good summer TV.
it is because it's dark and cold in space, and it's
Yeah.
freaking miserable outside.
Okay, so I'm glad you mentioned Star Trek, Lindsay, because one of my big rewatches over the summer is at least one Star Trek movie.
Oh yeah.
Just anyone?
Anyone. I mean, even if it's like the motion picture or Final Frontier or even Insurrection. Like, Insurrection is not a bad Star Trek movie, it's just not a great one either. It's just a Next Generation episode with 30 minutes tacked onto it. Jonathan Frakes did the best he could with what he had.
Yeah, it's still better than Nemesis in my mind.
Yeah, Nemesis was... I remember the old TV tropes page for it, and it originally read, "I'm sorry, did you mean Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan?" Like it was
It
was
had
a
the
Google search
unfortunate
result.
release date of 2 weeks before The Two Towers came out. And
Yeah, that didn't help it, but the movie wasn't that great to begin with.
it was not, and I'm so glad that they went back. Oh, no. Never mind. I'm not gonna say anything.
I know
Who's
I know
co-
there's a small mention of it on Picard. I don't know what it is yet. So I mean, since
Well,
I
I'm not
don't
gonna
have
say anything. It's
You almost spoiled me.
yeah. I'm sorry. You'll find out, Nick. So I would
Yeah,
rather you
but
find out. So I don't want to be a spoiler.
yeah, go and watch it. Season 3 is fantastic.
Oh,
Um,
that was just that was an amazing.
I mean, I like the first 2 seasons, though a lot of people hated on them, but season 3 is right up there if you wanted like some ties close to next gen.
Yeah, this is the perfect closure to the next gen crew.
It's everything the Rise of Skywalker wasn't.
all right then.
But
But-
yeah, I recommend
Yeah, but
it.
as
It's
far
good.
as Star Trek, sorry, go ahead, Chris.
No, go ahead. I was
gonna
going to
say,
jump into
as
what
far-
about Bob?
Oh, I was gonna say, as far as Star Trek movies, for me, you can't go wrong with the Spock trilogy: Wrath of Khan,
Ah,
Search for
yeah.
Spock, Voyage Home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great cinema.
mean-
Waterworld is one of my favorites to watch during the summer.
Boy, that movie's hitting different every rest of summer, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, sadly,
Yeah.
we're heading towards a Mad Max world and not a Waterworld world.
see, I always think about that one. There's this YouTuber I follow called H Bomber Guy, and he did an episode about all the climate change deniers, and one of them was Ben Shapiro saying, let's say let's just say, for the sake of argument, that the actual water levels are rising. So don't you think
You
people
do
would
that
just
really well,
sell-
Nick.
That's a good Shapiro.
Don't you think
Yeah.
people would just sell their homes and move? And he comments with just one problem: sell their houses to who, Ben? Fucking Aquaman. But yeah, as far as the Shapiro, there's this another person I follow. I follow a lot of YouTubers. Like there's like when you're at home and you just don't want to do anything because you've been so used to being on your feet all day, you watch a lot of YouTube. Anyway, this one guy once said this, and I kind of think it's pretty accurate. Ben Shapiro sounds like what black people sound like when they make fun of white people.
So basically, he is the Eddie Murphy character when Eddie Murphy's pretending to be a white guy.
Something like that, yeah.
Well,
Speaking of Eddie Murphy pretending to be a white guy, here's another one of my. Here's another movie shout out to
his
Nutty
SNL's
Professor.
good.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
The what?
Nutty Professor.
Oh yeah, yeah. The first one is pretty hilarious. Actually, it's kind of weird, you know. So we were all kind of raised at the tail end of the big '80s machismo action stars. But you know who are my 2 favorite people to watch in action movies because they were smartasses and they were regular Joes?
Which one?
Bruce Willis and Eddie Murphy.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
okay, yeah, Bruce Willis. Die Hard with a Vengeance probably still will always be my favorite Die Hard movie.
It's a great sequel. I don't know why some people don't like it.
I don't know. Probably because it doesn't take place at Christmas.
That's why I like it. I like that they changed the plot and didn't try to do the same movie again.
Yeah, and Bruce
And I
Willis
think him,
is a New York cop in New York.
yeah, and him and Samuel L. Jackson are great together. And Jeremy Irons, yeah, he's no Alan Rickman, but he's a pretty damn good bad guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Stargate, the movie, well, and the show are both really good, but Stargate, the movie, Yeah,
It looks as hot as it feels outside.
yeah, I enjoy watching Stargate as a summer movie.
See, I think
I think that was a
I
Christmas release, though. I think it and Star Trek Generations came out pretty close together.
oh yeah, because
Yeah.
both of them did come out in 1994.
Mm-hmm.
But the funny thing is, um, like, speaking of Stargate, there was a movie that I tend to like to watch, and it's kind of an obscure Disney movie, Atlantis: The Last Empire.
Yeah, that's a good
Basically,
movie.
Like, I know a lot of anime fans were livid because they were so convinced it ripped off a different show called Nadia: Secret of Blue Water, but really, it took its plot from Stargate.
Yep, it's Stargate as an animated movie.
Also, at the time, it was the most violent I've ever seen Disney. Um, so, seen Disney at the time, because like a bunch of people in that movie get straight up blown up, crippled, or killed. Like,
Yeah, they did. They
like
did that in Treasure Planet back to back.
Yeah, and also, Atlantis was the second movie from Disney Animation after Black Cauldron, like a decade earlier, that got a PG rating.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going to see the theater. The blue MPAA screen saying this movie is rated PG. That they usually have for the end of the movie, like at the very end of the movie. This one they had at the beginning. This is like, okay, parents, you have been warned. Like,
Well, although I would have been 3 at the time, it's weird because I feel like I have memories of seeing this in the theater, like with my older sisters. But I can't be for sure. It's like, am I, is it, am I remembering it differently? But for some reason, I want to say, but again, 3, who knows? But I do remember watching it at a really early age and enjoying it. I think it's a really underrated Disney flick. I wonder if we're going to get a live action version of that.
The Black Cauldron? Yeah, if they were going to do a lot. Of all the animated movies they're remaking, that's one they should remake.
Oh, they should make it dark too, which, I mean,
yeah,
they could easily do a PG-13 out of that.
Yeah.
Actually, funny thing you mentioned that, because apparently the movie Quest for Camelot, it was supposed to be a lot closer to Arthurian lore, and the animators were going for a PG-13. Like, they wanted that kind of story, but then the execs at Warner Brothers kind of fucked it up.
I actually never watched that.
You're kind of better off. It's pretty bland, but Lauren Faust was one of the animators on that movie, and if you mention it in her presence, she will go off.
Do you guys remember, what was it? It was Matt Damon and
Titan AE.
Oh yeah,
Basically the movie that bankrupted Fox Animation and ended Don Bluth's career. But that was a cool movie.
The what was it called?
Titan AE.
No, not Titan AE. I'm thinking of it was Quest for something where they go after Aztec gold, 2 guys.
Road to El Dorado. That's Kenneth Branagh and Kevin Kline. That's a DreamWorks film.
Yeah, thank you. I remember our church youth group going to see that. And
really,
showing you what imperialists are like. Here's how you grow up to be an imperialist, little boy.
See, actually, I'm surprised they showed your church.
I remember him standing up in church and like apologizing to the parents for taking the youth group to see it, and I was like, really? I was like, I thought it was a cool movie.
Oh,
What? I've never seen it. What's in it that you'd have to apologize about?
It was the scantily clad women and like the ad.
And the blasphemy that too.
Isn't it rated
Yeah,
PG? How scantily clad can they be? It's a cartoon
Right. I think it more
for
had to do with
families.
pretending to be gods and the
Oh,
Aztec
Lord.
culture. Yeah.
Well, that-
for sure.
you actually kind of. I was kind of surprised your youth group took you to see that and not Prince of Egypt.
Right?
Beautiful
But-
movie.
It is a beautiful movie.
Dude, yeah, Prince of Egypt is now one of my all-time favorite movies. When I saw it, I avoided it because that Whitney Houston Mariah Carey duet that was freaking everywhere. And of course,
I have not seen that movie.
You've never seen The Prince of Egypt? Well, I've
There's
never
a-
seen The Ten Commandments, so there you go.
I've seen like bits and pieces of the Ten Commandments, like usually along whenever they show it at Easter.
Yeah.
But I kind of said this is something I still believe now. Cartoon Network should air Prince of Egypt every Easter, like just as ABC does the Ten Commandments.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good, a
'Cause-
better replacement.
Yeah. I could swear I read something about. No, ma'am. Because they were making. DreamWorks was working on Prince of Egypt and Shrek at the same time. And if you got in trouble or you did something they didn't like while you were working on Prince of Egypt, you got Shrek'd and sent to the naughty corner to go work on that horrible, difficult CGI nightmare that it was at the time.
Huh. Well, I mean, it was originally supposed to be Chris Farley. Chris Farley died. Then they hired Mike Myers, and then in the middle of his recording, he decided to start doing the Scottish accent. And then they had to do it again, which apparently I'm learning Mike Myers is a bit of a butthead to
Oh,
work
yeah.
with.
Yeah,
Kind of a
Mike
diva.
Myers,
Diva. Yeah.
especially after the success of Wayne's World.
Well,
Was it-
apparently Penelope Spheres, the director of Wayne's World, got into it a lot while making that movie.
He and Dana Carvey did not care for each other during the making of those movies.
Which is
Yeah.
Which is sad. It's sad because they have such great chemistry, on screen. They're always Garth and Wayne, and
Maybe that has
Yeah.
more to do with the fact that Dana Carvey hung out with like Stephen Colbert and Steve Carell, and they were all a little bit more down to earth at the time.
right. That's right. They were doing their own.
Well, I think they have, I guess, the made amends are not as quite mad at each other, but also I haven't heard anything bad about Dana Carvey.
Well, Dana
as a-
Carvey was out of the limelight
bit of a boomer
for
now,
a while because he had a whole bunch of health problems over the years, and
Well,
Mhm.
Master of Disguise was supposed to be his comeback movie. Note, supposed to be.
Him and
I think
Dana Carvey, Rob Schneider, Kevin Nealon.
I think Dana Carvey's funnier than Rob Schneider.
Well, yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I'm
just saying they've all
being in Master of Disguise would make anybody just a little bit bitter in
yeah.
an off-putting way.
Well, all of them. If you listen to their comedy now, it is very.
Boomer.
It's
Boomer.
slightly boomer. Yeah. It's not a dirty word. I'm
That's-
just It's very
Yeah,
boomerish. But
That's kind of
You know, we
sad
always-
because
good.
I remember seeing Dana Carvey do a comedy special on HBO, and a lot of that was, showing off his musical talent too. Because, in Wayne's World, that was actually him playing the drums, but he could also play guitar and piano.
Yeah, 'cause doesn't he sing a Foreigner song and he starts saying chopping the broccoli or something?
Yes, that was one of his
Yeah.
that was one of his big routines. Actually, speaking of comedy, one of the for those people who didn't really watch, it's like who did say didn't those of you watching the show, I was at a vintage music shop in Grand Prairie last weekend, and we saw I showed these guys like the original vinyl covers for the soundtracks to Conan the Barbarian and it's like God what I can't even think of any other movies, but the main thing I was thinking of is they had like original Richard Pryor comedy albums on vinyl.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
original Richard
Dang.
Pryor, original George Carlin.
Hmm. Those two right there, they got to be like two of the bigs of stand-up comedy.
Well, yeah, it's like that holy trinity of stand-up comedy. And there was like this, Gen Xer Facebook group that I belonged to. I left it for a reason I'll get into in just a minute. But one of the posts was, "Oh, these kids these days, they'll never appreciate the comedy genius of George Carlin and Richard Pryor." And somebody said, "Dude, I would say Carlin's comedy would definitely resonate with the kids today, especially."
Oh, yes, it would. I've seen like sorry to interrupt, but I've seen a lot of his clips and what he's talking about is stuff we're still talking about.
Oh yeah, I've like I used to watch a lot of his comedy specials on HBO, and I remember there was this one where he was kind of he was dunking on kids. He says, "Why is he doing that?" He says, "You're talking to Mr. Conductor, folks. I know what I'm talking about."
That's right. I forgot. He was on Thomas the Train.
Yes, he was on Shining Time Station, Thomas the Tank Engine show.
Oh, what a legend.
Yeah, and yeah, and you want to talk about boomery humor? That Gen X group was started to get very boomery, and the reason I ended up leaving was somebody posted about the moon landing, and then the moon landing deniers came out.
Oh,
Oh, Lord.
yeah. I've seen.
Yeah,
Ah, for some reason,
I guess they believe all.
I've been targeted
And
really
then-
heavily here lately by
and-
Andrew Tate ads and videos.
Oh, I've been getting the Epic Times. For those of you who don't
Yeah.
know, the Epic Times is the newspaper created by a cult. It is literally a cult called Society for Falun Gong.
Oh, wow.
These are people who, and also they fund that Shin Yun dance that dance show. That is a Falun Gong recruiting tool because they're basically kind of a fascist cult, and they believe Donald Trump is their guy. It's gonna make things the way they're supposed to be.
Huh.
Yeah, I gave copies to the science teacher and the government teacher to, if they ever want to show them how propaganda works, show the kids how propaganda works, show them that newspaper.
I know we're postponed part of our discussion for next week, but that reminded me of a review I read on Letterboxd for A Few Good Men, where it was like all of Jack Nicholson's talk of code and honor and loyalty, really, you're just a fascist.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's kind of what, Aaron Sorkin was definitely going for.
Yep.
It's like how politics is supposed to work and how politics really is.
Mm-hmm.
Though, didn't Aaron Sorkin also write The American President?
He did, which I guess was a test run for The West Wing, which many would say The American President is probably Rob Reiner's last good movie, if not at least his last great movie.
Point. Actually, I still remember remember seeing the Rob Reiner roast, and one of the guys roasting him made him read aloud the reviews for North.
They made a lot of North jokes, which unfortunately I would have said American President was the end of his great run, but unfortunately he made North in between A Few Good Men and The American President.
Yeah.
Wasn't that
It's Elijah Wood, and then he's gonna go. Isn't he gonna go find new parents or something? I forget.
Yes.
And doesn't Bruce Willis show up along the way?
Yeah. He shows up every single time. He's like a recurring character, like Jim Carrey in that Lemony Snicket movie.
Yeah, I've actually never seen North. I just know of its reputation.
I've seen bits and pieces of it. Oh, you can watch it on Tubi. It also has Jason Alexander and Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Okay, half of the Seinfeld cast.
Yeah, they play North's original parents.
Okay.
And I am reading an old review from RogerEbert.com, and he says, I have no idea why Rob Reiner or anyone else wanted to make this story into a movie, and close examination of the film itself is no help. North is one of the most unpleasant, contrived, artificial, cloying experiences I've had at the movies. To call it manipulative would be inaccurate. It has an ambition to manipulate, but fails.
So I heard an interesting theory about Siskel and Ebert. And it was during a podcast about Pee-wee's Big Adventure, because apparently Siskel did not like the movie, and Ebert wasn't there to review it when it came out, but when he did review it, he told Gene Siskel he was crazy for not liking the movie. And this guy told the other guy, he's like, well, you think of everyone that's a film critic nowadays, or anyone that's a filmmaker, who do they always cite was an influence to them on writing about film and talking about film? It's always Roger Ebert. They never bring up Gene Siskel. And he said because Gene Siskel he said Roger Ebert was a movie critic for cinephiles and movie nerds, people who watch multiple movies a day or a lot of movies. He said Gene Siskel was the movie critic for a person who goes to the movies on the weekend or watches the HBO movie premiere on Saturday night or occasionally rents a movie on a weekend. It was like the average moviegoer reviewer.
And that makes sense.
So his taste aligned with the average moviegoer, whereas Roger Ebert's tastes were more towards people who loved movies.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely see that. And the funny thing is, you talk about how Mike Myers and Dana Carvey had such chemistry. Like Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert, they just had a really good working relationship, but they weren't really friends.
But they weren't really enemies either. They definitely didn't always like each other, but they weren't as combative as they could be on camera.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, you're.
I don't know, man. I heard that he didn't even tell. Oh, I don't want to mix that. Who contracted cancer?
Well, Siskel died first.
Well, I think
Well,
Siskel died of a
Siskel
stroke.
didn't even tell Ebert that he had cancer. Like he kept it
Wow.
from him. And
Yeah.
have you seen the Siskel? I think is it Imitation?
I've
of
only
Life?
seen
I mean,
I've seen Life Itself, the documentary
Life
about
Itself.
Roger Ebert. Yeah.
yeah.
Which
thought it was
apparently
in that.
Siskel. Well, I don't remember that. I just remember apparently Siskel was happy when Ebert got married because he knew Ebert wouldn't leave the show then.
Oh wow.
Because he was always afraid Ebert was going to leave because, you know, Ebert had a reputation. He had a Pulitzer Prize. He was
Right.
single. He didn't really need to have the show to have a career. And of course, Ebert was always jealous that it was called Siskel and Ebert because he said, well, I'm older. E becomes before S. And I have a Pulitzer. So that was part of their beef, I guess. But yeah.
You know, I am kind of surprised none of us have actually mentioned any of Shane Black's movies.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of them take place at Christmas time.
Yeah, but they
Well,
are very much summer movies.
Oh, for sure.
The sequels are very much summer movies to me. Now, the first Lethal Weapon it's definitely a Christmas movie in my book. But again, you can watch it during the summer. But the sequels are definitely they feel like summer movies.
Yeah, definitely. Like Lethal Weapon 3 is really my favorite of all the movies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That makes me want to watch the sequels now.
I will say one good thing about Lethal Weapon 3. I do enjoy it, but that definitely was better to cast Rene Russo opposite Mel Gibson than whoever the lady was in Lethal Weapon 2.
Well, yeah. Well, remember, in Lethal Weapon 2, Riggs was supposed to die.
Well, that was in Shane Black's original script before they brought in whoever came in and wrote the screenplay. Because I think Shane Black gets story credit.
Yeah, he did.
You're like the chain.
But also, in the original script for Lethal Weapon, Murtaugh was just supposed to retire.
Ah. Is there still rumors of Gibson making a fifth one?
I see him pop up every once in a while.
But I hear more about the idea of him making a Passion of the Christ sequel.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Easy.
Ugh. Have you seen The Nice Guys, Nick? Speaking of
Yes,
Shane
I have.
Black?
Yes,
Yeah.
I have. It's only like a small shot of mention of Christmas, but yeah, it was it Ryan Gosling and
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe, and a precocious kid sidekick.
Well, of course.
Yeah,
That's in a lot of Shane Black stories.
yeah, definitely saw that in Iron Man 3.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I like that. that was... I guess people forgot about that, though, because that kid showed up in Endgame, and people were like, who's that kid?
Yeah.
And I'm like, isn't that the kid from Iron Man 3?
Definitely. I'm reading through the original Lethal Weapon script, and I'm trying to find some of Shane Black's snarky stage directions.
The Lethal Weapon 2 has my favorite one-liner in an action movie.
Which one is that?
It's just been revoked.
Oh, see, I was thinking Men like you don't die on the toilet.
Those
Let's
horror
see.
movies, I tell you, like, okay, like on Christmas Day, everyone would come to our house, and I mean cousins and aunts and uncles, and yeah, they still do that. But after it was all over, and everything was cleaned up, my mom would be like, "Why don't you go to the video store and rent a couple of movies?" Because they. Now, I don't condone this. I think if you want a movie on Christmas, go the day before or whatever. Give Christmas Day off. Even to those
Yeah.
movie workers, even to the theater workers.
Are the video stores open on Christmas Day?
Yes, the one in Rusk was, because my mom would always
Oh,
send
wow.
my dad. But those were movies that we would rent, like the Die Hard movies, the Lethal Weapon movies, the Beverly Hill Cops movies, like anything that had like a couple of movies, had like a movie and a sequel or two,
Yeah.
Dad would pick it up. And it's
Okay.
all those movies bring back warm fuzzy memories.
Oh, here is the stage direction I was looking for. Exterior, posh Beverly Hills home, Twilight. The kind of house that I'll buy if this movie is a huge hit. Chrome, glass, carved wood, plus an outdoor solarium, a glass structure, like a greenhouse, only there's a big swimming pool inside. This is a really great place to have sex.
And we're out. No, I'm just playing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Any more last minute mentions of any of your films that you like to watch during
The Running Man.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
A good summer action movie is Speed.
Ooh, yeah. That's a good one.
Twister.
Yeah,
Jan de Bont.
Yeah.
that's another Jan de Bont. Yeah.
Twister definitely, since we're moving into stormy season, hopefully. Yeah. We say we hope. We don't want anything bad to happen. We just welcome the rain and maybe some thunder and
Well, we're
lightning.
kind of past tornado season. That's more the spring.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, but there's I don't know what happened after that, but last I saw last weekend there was gonna be it was like a hurricane headed towards Nevada, like it was gonna.
Oh, wasn't there?
L.A.
Yeah.
and Nevada.
Yeah, didn't that happen already?
Yeah, I think it already happened. I didn't hear anything much about the aftermath. And then there's also a huge hurricane in Florida too. After Ron DeSantis gutted a bunch of the safety protocols.
Oh, well, circling back to making fun of Shapiro, I saw on X or whatever it's called now, somebody said for Los Angeles County, they said hire Ben Shapiro as your public works or whatever evacuee. He'll get that town dried up in no time.
Oh God, we had to. Of course, we had to go there.
He did it to himself.
Yeah.
He did do it to himself. And I will love Ryan Johnson forever for that reply. I forget what Ben Shapiro was complaining about The Last Jedi, and Ryan Johnson replied, "Too much WAP for you?"
Oh.
Well, I'm going to throw one more out, and that's going to be my final movie, and that's The Mummy.
Oh, in my opinion, Stephen Sommers' The Mummy is probably the closest we've come to a decent Indiana Jones knockoff.
Fraser.
Yeah, definitely. Gave us Rachel Weisz. Thank you, Universal.
And the extended version of The Mummy is worth it, by the way, if you get a chance to watch it. So
You say that about me.
yeah, I know. Oh, I lied. I've got one more, and that is The Abyss.
I lied.
I lied. That is an all-time favorite, The Abyss, and you definitely need to see the extended version of that. And I'm done.
That
That's all.
that I will concur with you. That director's cut is definitely worth watching. Gives so much more to the movie.
It is a better movie.
That sub chase is a nail biter, and the soundtrack slaps with it, the visuals, the model work, the underwater work. I know that those people went through hell, and that just makes me appreciate that movie so much more. And it is a crime that it
And
is
James
not.
Cameron, if you're in the bottom of the ocean or whatever you're doing, making your Thunder Smurfs movie, please monitor or or agree to let them to release The Abyss and True Lies on 4K and Blu-ray.
Please, maybe. Hey, you know what? You and I need to start a trend or something, hashtagging some stuff. Like, you need to release these. We need both. Now, actually, hey, I heard that The Abyss was getting a 4K.
I heard as well that it's supposed to be, but I didn't like his response a few years ago when he's like, "It'll take me 28 hours." Dude, you spent 13 years on the Avatar sequel. You have 28 hours in your life.
Yeah.
Actually, I just think James Cameron definitely got. I wouldn't call it a last laugh, but definitely got the last word on that submarine guy.
Oh, he definitely did.
It's like everyone was telling him that this was unsafe.
It says due to let's see. Hang on. No, that's Lord of the Abyss. Yeah, they said something about July, but I have not seen it.
It has not come out yet, but yes, I remember reading somewhere earlier this year that it was in the works. But I
That's
say
28
that
hours.
because...
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, what was I gonna... what was my train of thought? It's hardly ever streaming. Like, it's never on a streaming service, and there's like no digital copy to rent. Too. Like, that's another reason why they need to release it, because you can't watch it unless you own a DVD or VHS or Laserdisc, if someone still has a Laserdisc player.
People still have Laserdisc players.
Oh, hey, that reminds me. Get with me after this. After we are not live.
Okay.
And it
Lasers?
has to do with what we were talking about, but I'm not going to mention.
Okay.
I was just gonna say that 28 hours excuse from James Cameron sounds like some George R.R. Martin nonsense. And
Oh. Have you guys ever seen this movie called Logan Lucky? It's basically like hillbilly version of Ocean's 11. It's the same director.
I want to.
Don't they break out of prison to knock over a bank, and then they break?
It's a NASCAR thing, but there's a whole Game of Thrones joke in there. And Dwight Yoakam is like the prison warden when they're like having a riot, and they make a Game of Thrones reference about the show ending. And one of the prisoners is like, he specifically said that the sixth book would come out before the show was over.
Yeah, I've been wanting to see, because I actually do like Soderbergh movies, because they're more character studies than anything else.
Right.
Yeah, he's a very good director. I don't think he gets enough credit as part of the generation of filmmakers he's a part of. And also just the amount of films he puts out. And he's always experimenting with different formats.
Yeah, actually, I wouldn't call this a summer movie, but it's definitely one of my favorites. Sex, Lies, and Videotape.
I have never seen that.
That was his debut movie, and
Yeah,
I always remember
yeah.
seeing the VHS cover, and I was like,
I
nope,
know
I
it
didn't
like
know
was a big
that.
storm at Sundance, but another one I love that pretty much solidifies summer, especially with the heat and what the heat can do to you, is Spike Lee's "Do the Right Thing."
oh yeah,
I
I
have a
always think
confession.
of
I have not seen that.
I
Oh,
think Do the Right Thing is his penultimate movie. Like
mm-hmm.
probably the second best movie he's ever done in his career. Like the first being Malcolm X.
Do the right thing. Okay, yeah, we will watch that. Well,
All right, I think we're good.
I
We have
think
ra-
so.
we have rambled
we had
on
a
about
great
almost
discussion.
every single movie and accompanying TV shows and actors for the past hour and a half.
Well, you know what this is? This is, and I brought it up before, but it's just like you leave a movie theater and you stand out in the parking lot for like an hour or two after the movie's done, just talking about that movie, and then you drift into other movies, and it just be,
And then you're like, oh my gosh, it's 2
you're
a.m.
like, oh my god, yeah, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. We've been standing here for 3 hours,
I gotta
which,
go to
believe it or
work.
not, has happened. We have gotten caught up,
That's why we're not
and
very often.
yeah, after that is the best time to talk about the movie. It's fresh, it's like, it's just a great thought.
Sometimes there are some movies that need to like like kind of cook in your brain, because sometimes your initial reactions may be very highly praise of the movie,
And then you're
or
like,
or opposite, you're like, what did I watch? And then when you think about it more, you're like, oh no, actually that movie was like really good. It was like saying some things or doing some interesting things. Like it can go either way sometimes with
Yeah, like
you.
movies that just grow on you. And I was on this.
Hmm.
I was just on one of the subreddits, and I just got to give this one: Transformers the movie.
The animated one.
Yep. Like I hated that movie when I first saw it. I saw it on VHS. I didn't see this in the theater, but they kill off almost the entire main cast in the first act,
Dang.
and
Yeah.
they
That's
leave
true.
us with a bunch of new characters that we know nothing about, mainly because Hasbro wanted to clear shelf space for new toys. and they thought, you know what, this is just cars that transform into robots. Who the hell cares if it's like, what if Optimus, what's his name, dies? Like there'll be another one, and then afterwards, the whole backlash, like, wow, I think we made a mistake, and all the writers for the show were like, you think? So they
All
pretty
right,
much
guys.
came up with every.
I had a bite of
Yeah.
everyone.
You know what that is?
What was it?
French toast.
Oh,
Is that what
sorry, we're having cookie talk
Uh,
on the sidelines here.
Oh, it's
Cookie.
okay.
Cookies sound good right now.
We all
Alright.
deserve a cookie for surviving this
Yeah.
so far.
Yeah,
Well,
and our $600 electric bill.
Ugh.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you deserve a cookie.
Yeah, good thing I got paid.
Yeah, man, you should look into doing that, where you split it to where they average it out of your usage. If you can do that.
I think G already paid it because, I mean, it's gonna ding, but we could swing it.
Yeah.
But honestly, I kind of think companies are kind of gouging us. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it.
but I'm
All
gonna
right,
go
guys.
check on the
My
spouse.
battery saver
See
light
how they're.
just popped on my laptop.
All right, let's call it.
My battery's getting dangerously low. So if I bleep out,
It's time
But,
for cookies.
All
next
right,
week
let's.
we are going to talk 2 birthday movies with our buddy Jim Heron, one of our admins that pops on here and there, and we're going to talk. If you haven't seen it on the page, we're going to talk A Time to Kill and A Few Good Men, 2 good courtroom dramas, and we're going to ask Jim why he chose these for his birthday and what he likes about these films. Because boy, do I have some things to say. But A Few Good Men is really great. It's a really good movie, and so is A Time to Kill. But we will get into them to those 2 movies.
Because we need direction.
We do need direction.
We need a topic to try and stick to.
Yeah.
Yes. If you joined us, feel free to list some of your favorite movies, summer movies that you like to watch. Cody,
Or
do you have-
otherwise.
Yes. Do you,
Yes.
Cody? Do you have anything coming up for the director's chair?
I do. Sunday night, we will be wrapping up season 1 of Twin Peaks with Kevin and Colin. So it'll be on YouTube, and then I'll post. It'll be on YouTube Sunday night, and then it'll be posted on the Facebook page sometime next week.
Awesome.
Right. Well, excellent. All right, guys. Well, if you watched or are a future watcher, thank you so much for joining us. Next week we'll be back with a double feature, and then we're gonna start getting
Then
into
it's gonna be time to get spooky.
yes,
Spooky movies. Yes.
We go into spooky movies. I cannot wait. September is pre-Halloween, and then we get October. Thank goodness. I hate
Yeah.
rushing because time as an adult is already sped up anyway. But boy, do
There's
I!
a warm autumnal glow at the end of this hill, and I can't wait till we get there.
Yeah, I cannot wait for fall. I cannot wait for October. Brisk, cool mornings. It's going to be awesome. So
I'm just looking forward to it not being 112 degrees.
Hey, it's been, at least here in East Texas, it's been like below 99 the last few days. It's been like between 95 and 97.
Well,
our
it
AC
looks-
hasn't had to fight as hard.
Yeah.
Well, actually, our AC hasn't had to fight as hard now. It is 89 degrees according to my weather widget.
That is still too hot for 9 o'clock at night, though.
Yeah. Well, all right, guys. All
right.
I guess we will see you Sunday and next week.
Yep.
Yes.
Everybody have a great weekend. Be safe.
And happy birthday, Jim.
Yep.
And happy.
Which was Monday, but
It's like happy Labor Day, everybody. For those
Yes.
of you who get the
Yeah.
day off, I hope you have a good 3-day weekend. And for those
Yes.
of you who are working, just stay strong.
Thank you. Thank
Don't let
you.
the bastards get you down.
I'll try.
and the only Labor Day quote from a movie I know of is, "Don't you know you're not supposed to wear white after Labor Day?"
Cereal mom.
No, it was a really bad. I'm not saying really bad. It was the only thing really awesome about it was the car chases, and that was the remake, the Dukes of Hazzard movie.
Oh.
Oh, I don't remember anything about that movie.
I just
Except
remember
Jessica Simpson.
this guy punches somebody outside of a jail cell, and he stands up and like belittles him, and he walks off, and the guy who punched him is like this burly biker dude, and he's behind the bars, and he goes, "Don't you know you're not supposed to wear white after Labor Day?" Or something like that. And I don't know why, but that line just cracked me the hell up. Like, probably the funniest thing in that movie.
Okay.
See,
Yeah,
actually, I would suggest any John Waters movie.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Good
Yes,
stuff.
Hairspray is my
Particularly
favorite out of his.
Serial Mom.
I haven't seen a lot of his early work or any of his like past picker work either.
I think the
That's true. I
last
forgot
movie
he
of
did
his
that.
I saw was A Dirty Shame.
Yeah, I think that's his last theatrical film or last directed film.
Yeah.
All right, good night, guys.
Night, night.
All right, guys.
It's been a pleasure. Bye
Always.
bye.
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 See you later.